What happens when you take all the components of your reselling life, tossed in with a little bit of real life, and you cram it all into 1 hour video? I don't know either, but we're about to find out. Sit back, relax, and let's get to learning. I thought it would be really fun to make a video where I'm jumping all over the place. So, while these pieces may seem disjointed, they're all part of my daily round as a part-time reseller. You are going to be seeing me sourcing and photographing, diving into my death pile, making a run to the post office. You're going to be seeing my favorite coffee that I make at home. You are going to see it all. And I hope you enjoy it because I have a ton of tips and tricks tucked into all of these pieces. So let's get started. Right, we're jumping right in. My most requested video is show us your setup. So here it is. These are two boards that come out and get put away. They are what I use as my backdrop for photographing. So they are 2 foot by 2 foot plywood pieces covered in outdoor carpet, which I have just staple gunned to the wood. These things have lasted me, I think it's going on 3 years now. And they just get easily tucked away when I don't need them, as you can see. So easy peasy lemon squeezy, not too expensive. And I really do like the gray background. And it's easy to, switch your pictures up if you need to erase your background using software. This is a wood card table from Amazon, and I've taken a crispy new measuring tape with my packing tape and adhered it across the table. I'll show you how I use that later. These are two Sterilite storage drawer pieces that I got at Target. And actually, I have a third one I use under my desk. These are so hardworking. That top drawer is jewelry packaging supplies. Next, we start in on my cello bags and increasing from small to large. I've got my 6x9, and then we get into my 9x12 right here. And it's easy to see when I need to reorder any of these sizes because I have them singled out in the drawers. And then you've got the 12x16. Now we jump down to the second storage container. Those are my scissors and thank you note supplies. We've got our poly bags, 10x13, and then two sizes in this drawer. And then my largest size bag that I carry is 19x24. And those don't fit beautifully in there, but I made it work. I cannot tell you how much I love these two little silly drawer containers. They just save my life. Everything's right where I need it. Up above is my bubble wrap center, and you're going to see up close. I store my stickers and my tape gun on there too. These are a set of plant hangers with a random pole that I found in our garage. Now you could use a wood dowel, a broomstick, whatever you can get your hands on. Here's what the plant hangers look like. This is an example. You can find them anywhere, Lowe's, Home Depot, etc. Next up, I want to talk to you about customer care, I'm calling it, or customer service. Now, the reason I wanted to talk to you about this is because if you're on social media, YouTube, Instagram, what have you, sellers tend to complain more about customers than they do share the wonderful notes or experiences they have. And I think there's a reason why that is. And it's a job where we really give a lot. And when a customer is upset, it's hard not to take it personally. So anything you can do to guard against that is definitely something you should be thinking about. And I have a few ideas I want to share with you. Let's take a look. Now, if you are just starting out, I think this is a wonderful practice to at least give a try, and that is thank you notes. Several big sellers do not have time to write thank you notes. They might include a printed note. But there are so many great ideas on the internet for how to quickly thank your customer for choosing you. They could have chose someone else. They could have bought that same item with someone else, but they purchased it with you. So I have been writing thank you notes from the beginning, and it has served me well. I buy cardstock when it is on sale from Hobby Lobby, and then I have it mailed directly to my home. I use a paper cutter and I cut the sheets up even smaller into these little squares. Then I take a cute thank you note and paste it across the top. I'll batch make these so that they're easy to pull. I am showing you quotes from customers mentioning my thank you notes. This is why I keep doing it, because they keep mentioning how nice it is to get a handwritten note. Now, these only take me about 30 seconds each. If you are a volume seller, you may not have that kind of time, but if you are a hobby or part-time seller, or you're just getting started, I think this is such a gorgeous way to establish communication with your buyer. Okay, also in line with customer care, what happens when you get a message from a buyer or a potential buyer that has a question that stumps you, or a comment that offends you, or has a problem with you that is out of your control? How do you handle these things? Well, recently I got two mild inquiries from two customers. So let me just show you what I did. Okay, this one happened a few days ago. I got an inquiry from someone saying, I'd like to send you a large piece of deerskin and have you make me some gloves. I don't make gloves, I told her, but that does sound really cool. That is how I handle awkward questions. I was happy to see her respond with, darn it, sorry for the bother, thank you. And I just told her best of luck. This next example has happened a lot lately. I wonder if you guys are experiencing this, where their packages are showing they've been delivered, but they're not there. Well, I've learned, thankfully, with several cases now, to just give it a day or two, and the package usually shows up. And in this case, it did. Okay, we're going to throw it back to my ship and shoot station and get something shipped out. Okay, this is where the bubble wrap center comes in clutch, as the young people would say. Notice the orientation of the roll. I have it so that when I pull it down, the bubbles are face up. Now, this is very opposite the way I like my toilet paper, in case anyone's interested. Anyway, I'm going to pull it down, and this works for smaller picture frames, smaller wall art. I do books this way too, also, because I sell a lot of vintage books, and I don't like, the corners getting damaged. I've got my scissors right there and a roll of craft paper, both within reach. So I'm going to cut off a small piece of craft paper, and I'm going to roughly crumple it, not crumple it way down. I want it to be kind of expansive and puffy. And then I'm going to take that first sheet of bubble wrap and almost crimp it around the edge. Then I'm going to do the crocodile roll with it. You know how crocodiles take their prey underwater and roll them? I know, it's kind of morbid. Anywho, I tape it up really tight. And then I want you to see what I'm going to do with the edges. Now, do you have two tape dispensers like I do? I use the tape gun and the tabletop tape dispenser interchangeably all the time. I cannot be without either one. It just depends on what I'm doing. And I wonder if you guys are the same way. So as you'll see here, I tuck the excess bubble wrap down one side of the item, like you'll see right here. I tuck it in like I'm making a bed, and then I'll bring the other flap over the top and tape it down. Now, this is not how I'm sending it. I'm going to put a thank you note on it, and then we're going to create what is known as a Frankenbox. If you don't know what that is, sit tight. I'm about to tell you. Now, before any of you start in on me, you are allowed to cut up and resize USPS grounded vantage boxes. Those of you who sell on Poshmark should know that you can order these, and yes, you are allowed to cut them up. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm cutting this up to give an extra layer of protection. So a Frankenbox is when you combine multiple boxes to resize them into a single box, or just resize a single box that you can ship out that has a nice uniform shape. I do this all the time, except I ran out of tape here. And I'm just showing you this because this is one of my most hated reselling jobs, is changing the tape out. Thankfully, I had just ordered rolls of tape from Amazon, and I have them right there. So again, everything is 1 to 2 steps away from me. This is so efficient. I can get my shipping done so much faster than if I had to run around. However, you do have to put supplies back where you got them, as I tell my kids, or you'll never find them again. Or they'll get in your way and you'll spill your coffee, and we can't have that. So here's the worst part of it, getting the tape started. My trick, pull it out, fold it over, and make a double thick little tab. Stick it into your tape gun. Mine's broken, but I still use it. And it's much easier to grab that little tab when it's doubled up like that. And then go ahead and pull it through, watching your fingers, because Lord knows I've cut my fingers on those teeth many a time. Okay, and because our Franken box isn't that pretty, we're going to stick it in a little poly bag. Now, here's where when you're working with eBay and you need dimensions, this little tape comes in so handy. So I can get all 3 dimensions so quickly. Now, with a poly bag, you usually just give the 2 different dimensions. When you have a box, you would do the 3, the length, the width, the depth. And then I've got my handy little scale on there, which I've had to buy a few of in my 7 years of doing this. I think this is my 2nd scale. Give it away, print out the label, and one more thank you sticker goes on the outside of the package. I think presentation is important. My trusty IKEA bag that I've had for over 7 years. He's looking so old. While I'm at it, let me throw another quick tip in here. On my laptop, I have a list of the dimensions of my different poly bags. That way I can type them in. I don't know why I can never keep them straight. And this is my logbook. If you're interested in seeing how I track my sales daily, let me know in the comments below. All right, it's time to reset the ship and shoot station. Let's do it. So here is a live time lapse. Only it's not a lapse, it's real time. This is me cleaning up my shipping that I was just doing, rolling up my stickers, putting my tape gun up, putting all my thank you notes in my little drawer over in the Sterilite set of drawers. That's what takes so long. I had to speed that up a tiny bit. And then I just pull out my 2 carpet covered plywood boards and ta-da! I'm ready to start photographing. There are a lot of ways to photograph with different equipment. Let me tell you what I do. All right, the sun's going down. I had to pull out the box light, which, by the way, I also have right next to my station for doing photography up close or at night. Okay, here's the thing. I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max. I've had it for a few years. I love it, and that is all I use. No fancy cameras. Now, I do everything on my phone. So do I occasionally have to go through and weed out photos and video because things are glitching? Yes. But these iPhones do a beautiful job, and they've got so many settings. There's so many things, so many levers to pull. And I'm going to share a few of those with you in this video, but I want you to know if I had to use a fancy camera, I would not do this. That's just too much for me. I like to simplify wherever I can. Okay, back to my setup. I am starting with a pair of shoes, and this is a pair of shoes my sister-in-law dropped off to me. Make sure you're telling all your family and friends what you do. She has given me many really high quality items to sell. Thank you, Leandra. Anyway, she even had the box, the original tissue paper. She even had the receipt. So I am going to use the box in my cover photo so the buyer knows they are getting it with their purchase. Here is another quick tip when photographing shoes. On the iPhone camera, that little yellow flower is macro mode. I turn it off for up close photos. And I'll tell you why. It really affects the clarity, color, and details. Sometimes I leave it on, but it's one tool that I want you to really kind of play with when you're taking close-up shots of your items. I spend a lot of time making sure I have clear photos when I'm doing this, especially of the pressure points like the elastic buckle, the tips or points of the shoes, the taps on the heels. I like to show my buyer full true condition before they make the purchase. Now these are in next to new shape. I also tend to put my shoes in cello packaging leaving a little bit of air in there for them to air out. And I'm going to store these right back in their box so that I grab the whole thing when the sale hits and I know they are ready to go. However, and I wonder if you guys do this, I need to do the shake test. What's the shake test? Well, close the box and shake it. If you hear things moving around, even if they're not breakable, add some more cushion, and I'll tell you why. Even shoes can rub against each other while they're traveling through the USPS or UPS systems, and there can be damage. Ask any buyer that's had, received something that had too much play in it. I actually got my coffee maker broken en route to me, and I had to, fight with the seller. So I'm going to tape the lid shut, another piece of security, and here's a test. It's called a fit test. So you're going to take your poly bag and drape it over the top, and if the sides come down halfway on your item, then that should be a perfect fit, and it sure was. Now, I also, when I'm storing things, if you didn't know this, wrap them in cello bags to keep them dust and moisture free. After I've photographed something and wrapped it in a cello bag, I throw it in my $2 Target bins. I love those laundry baskets. Next step, let's talk ChatGPT. Okay, I want you to know that when someone first mentioned ChatGPT to me, I was like, I don't even want to know what that is. AI, no thanks. I want nothing to do with it. And then my niece Candace, who I've mentioned to you, said, Aunt Kelly, it's actually super helpful. And you know what? She wasn't wrong. It is so cool. Now, I am a very basic user. And well, let me just show you how to use it. Okay, you're going to go onto Google and type in ChatGPT. And it's going to take you to the website, chatgpt.com. And it is going to immediately ask you, how can I help you? And you are going to tell it. Now, there are so many ways to use it. It's very much like Google, I would say, like a much stronger, more detailed and layered Google. So as you can see, I am typing in, hey, give me an idea for a YouTube video. And here, look at this. Look at this answer. I mean, come on. And here's what's a little peculiar, but also cool. It gets to know you. It gets to know what your videos are about. It gets to know reselling, the more resellers that use it. I had already asked it about death piles before, so it's already mentioning those again. So yes, it's kind of human in that it gets to know you. Now let's use it for something else. I am going to upload a picture from my photo library, an item, a nutcracker, which actually I'm going to talk to you about later in the video. So I'm uploading, I've selected this picture and I've uploaded it. And now I'm going to ask it to place it in a specific aesthetic setting. And this is how I've created some of the cover shots for some of my more awkward vintage things that I'm trying to market online. This is where ChatGPT really shines. You no longer have to have a perfect setup in your home or photography backdrop or pull out that bed skirt and put it on your bed. Okay, so here I have told it what to do, and I will warn you, it takes about, 5 minutes, which goes by really slow when you're just sitting there watching that thing buffer. But let me speed it up really quick and show you. You can see it's thinking, it's getting colors together, and voila, look at that. Now, this popped up and I looked at it and was like, okay, it's a little too pink for me. I would like this to be a little more muted. So I told it that, and then it gave me this. Well, that looks kind of like death warmed over to me. So there is some refining going on, okay? And so I give it a new set of instructions and perfection. It's a little light, but I really find this pleasant. So you learn better ways to talk to ChatGPT as you use it. I am paying $20 a month. It's called OpenAI, and I love it. Okay, let's switch gears here. Let's go on a supply run. Hey guys, so many of you have asked me about shipping supplies, so I'm just going to take you with me. Let's go. I gotta tell you, it is so convenient to run up the street to U-Haul when I need packing peanuts because they take up so much storage. I don't like to have a bunch of bags on hand. And anytime I've ordered them on Amazon, they never come next day. Never, literally never. And twice the bag was ripped open and they were everywhere. So I really love this option. Also, someone in my comments, because I did do a short about this, said, so bad for the environment. And I had to tell her the truth, which is U-Haul's packing peanuts are 100% biodegradable. They are plant-based, probably potato starch, I'm guessing by the color. So I want you to feel good about using these packing peanuts. All right. All right, let's jump back into what we all try to avoid. Listing, specifically the death pile. But then I pull out a beautiful specimen like this vintage wool trench coat, and I don't know why I put off listing. I paid $10 for this at Goodwill, and as you can see, it is this gorgeous, unique burnt orange exterior with this sort of light tangerine interior, made by Windsor. No materials tag, but the union tag is there. And if you don't know this, you can do a Google Lens search and sort of narrow down the time frame on when your item was made. This is a larger size, not a traditional modern day 14, probably closer to a 10 or 12, but still a fantastic size. What do I always say about garments that have lining? Show the armpits. All right, let's jump over to using my collage software. Now, for now, I am using this very tried and true app called Collage. I showed it to you last time. It has a grid system, so I picked a double pane grid. I'm going to upload my photos into the grid. There they are. Now, with my fingers, I can adjust them so I can sort of line them up so they look better matched for the picture. As you'll see, I'll just kind of do a little here until they're lined up decently enough. And then I will take a screenshot of that. Now, you can pay for the full service they offer, but I haven't decided that I'm going to stick with them just yet. So until then, I'm doing this. I'm just using the basics. Here's a measuring tip that I don't know, especially new resellers. I don't know if you know this. It is easier to measure the back of a garment. Yep, the back. There are no buttons, collars, pockets usually in the way. Just wanted to throw that little tip in there. And in this case, I will remind you to check all pockets because after I reached in to show myself there are pockets, I found this glass perfume vial. Now, that would have really been terrible for my buyer to receive crunched up in the pocket. Oi, presentation. I want you to see how I folded this coat. I was sort of proud of myself. I try to do this with robes and jackets that have tie belts. Doesn't always come out as beautiful, but in this case, I was happy. Okay, let's talk about taking pictures and slowing down. First of all, try and notice any dirt or grime by holding things, especially reflective surfaces at different angles. And then in this case, I needed to slow down because thankfully that Florentia sticker was there and tells me a lot of information, but it was also stamped. I would have missed that stamp if the sticker had been gone. So really study things, okay? And then you want to shoot them from different angles. When you are buying something online, you don't have the opportunity to touch it, to hold it in your hands. So any very up close shots from different angles are a really great way to help sell your item, in my opinion. And when it's art, I always like to get a nice up close one. Okay, let's talk about modeling. I think it's great if you're willing to do it. I am not. And I think most people are not. It's a lot of pressure. When it's something like a hat or a glove, take into consideration what the buyer, how they might feel. But in the case of some gloves, they just do so much better with a hand in them. So I will usually ask my sons to help me out or my husband. These are men's gloves and they are just so well made. I wanted to show the detail and laying flat just wasn't going to do it. By the way, if you don't know how to get the size of a glove because some don't tell you what size they are. You want to measure across the girth or the palm of the glove like you see here. Okay, you guys are going to laugh at me, but I have a whole Sterilite drawer full of parts and pieces. I have this gorgeous belt that lost 2 of its beautiful cabochon type jewels that I need to replace. I've got a clock here that needs new hands. I've got stationery that doesn't have a grouping. I've got so many things here. Do you keep parts? Well, let me show you the latest parts I picked up and why. Okay, I was at an estate sale and they had a whole bunch of these in baggies, so I picked the best one. Raise your hand if you know what they are. Okay, raise your hand if you know what this is. If you saw this at the thrift, would you know what it was for? Well, they're buddies. They go together. It's a nutcracker bowl and all the tools. And the nutcracker bowls can look a few different ways. I want you to see a few versions. Look at this adorable nutshell version. Oh my gosh, I want that. Anyway, they don't sell for a ton of money, but they do consistently sell at holiday time between $15 and $30. So I wanted you to think about parts. Next up, just a quick shout out to myself for being good. These are so pretty, but they're silver plated, super tarnished, and don't have stoppers. So I ditched them, meaning I donated them. Don't feel like you have to list everything in your pile. I don't know about you guys, but I do like to sometimes schedule porch pickup from USPS, but the truth is the items don't usually get scanned right away, even though my mailman is spectacular. He says he scans them, but they just don't hit the system until much later, I found out. So I like to walk mine in. And now I have a post office box, so it's another reason I need to go in. So I feel like I'm driving to the post office 3 to 4 times a week, and that's just a practice I've gotten into. I think if you build in sourcing or other errands with that, it's perfectly acceptable, but I'm just always running to the post is my point, and I'm usually there when they're closing the doors. Having said all that, this is really where I become grateful as a reseller. All right, guys, the death pile is living. For the many of you working on your death piles alongside me, let's talk. Just pull one thing off the top like I did. This little Y2K style sweater from Mud was right on top. I got home from the post, I threw it on my board, I pull out my steamer, and then I see this deodorant stain. So now I've got to launder it. Then I pull out the next piece, and it's this gorgeous royal purple trumpet skirt, and guess what? Another stain. I'm going to be really transparent with you. Those 2 things made me throw in the towel till the next day. Except, isn't that the beautiful part? There is always a next day, guys. Don't let one bad day get you down. Just tell yourself, I'm going to have a great night's sleep, get up in the morning, and reset. That's what it's about. Reset your reselling whenever you get frustrated. That's what I did. Now, let's talk about getting up in the morning and getting going. I just cannot wait to share my favorite coffee with you. I'm a bit of a coffee snob, so if you like coffee and you don't know about this coffee, I thought I would share it with you. There are a few things I do every morning to get going, and coffee is one of them. I grind my beans, and here they are. Peerless coffee and tea, especially the Hawaiian Island blend. It's a medium roast. It is perfection. The beans are oily, dark, and wonderful. I love sourdough toast and what I call my restaurant eggs. After I have breakfast, I try and do a few little household chores, maybe some dishes, watering some plants, and then I'll do some stretches. And something new I've been doing is jumping, who me, 50 times. Now, don't picture more than it is. These are just little baby jumps. And you would be surprised what a difference it makes. So if that's something you're capable of doing, give it a shot because some of my friends are doing it and they report back too that it gives you a boost of energy and it just seems to be a great way to start the day. One thing I'm trying to get better about is shipping first thing in the morning, especially before I set out to source. It's another beautiful day in reseller land. I'm here at the post office with my 2 bags of solds. Lots of good sales going out the door. So grateful. Beautiful, beautiful day. This is where the rubber meets the road, resellers. This is where the cash starts to roll in once we mail what has been sold. I love a good thrift store, but charity shops are my favorite. And I'm on my way to one of my little favorite honey holes where my stepmom volunteers. So I thought I'd take you with me. Let's hit the road. Shout out to my stepmom, Nancy, and all of the volunteers at Charity's Closet in Southern California. They raise money for the homeless and they run the shop like a fine-tuned machine. There is always a line waiting to get in. And let me tell you why. Beautiful, clean, quality merchandise at really good prices. It's so crowded they gave me a number this day. So the fun part is you get to look through the window and make everyone in there feel guilty. Finally, I got in, and I'm showing you the shop is very small. That was the whole lot of it. And so I had a great time. I was here 2 hours. And I really enjoyed myself. I went through almost every dress, every top, every skirt. They usually have wonderful belts, great hard goods, and the women are just so friendly and sweet. This velvet blazer was a pickup. I'm sorry, I'm so excited. I can't even say it right. And this Johnny was, ho, 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 ho. Who didn't find that? I got there later in the day, so I was very shocked about that one, especially. I think everyone knows about Johnny. Okay, this top's so cute, but I just could not find a solid comp for it, so I left it there. This next one is a page out of my Please Don't Do What I Did. So I'm moving too fast. I quickly read the tag as La Cause. I type it into eBay, and I come up with nothing. Absolutely nothing. No matches. So I start to wonder, is this just a really obscure brand? This is so bizarre. But then in the list, one dress came up and it was spelled differently. It was spelled La Casa with an A. So I quickly looked that up and thought, oh, wow, that's an Anthropologie brand. How spectacular. Well, when I got home, I zoomed in like I am here and look, there's the A. So I really should slow down because that would have been a definite pickup for me. This one at an extra small sold for $25. And then this one sold for $32. So you know what? Slow down. Okay, I thought this Juicy Couture top was going to be such a banger because it's got dog, it's got sequins, it's got Juicy Couture. Womp, womp. Always check comps. I did end up leaving with quite a stash. I did not pick up this Montana Lifestyles platter because only one was sold and that was 3 years ago. And there are several up for sale. And there she is, $198 later. Some really great stuff in here, lots of vintage, several half-price items. Can't wait to dig in. That puzzle's for me. I'm wondering if it's the same for any of you, but when I go out sourcing, I usually immediately want to come home and list. Out of my hard goods death pile came this cute piece, and I want to talk to you about it because it's a style aesthetic you may not be aware of, especially regarding vintage pieces. So this is a little smaller of an example, but it still fits the aesthetic, which is called tortoise bamboo. Now this, as far as a style and an aesthetic, is where they either stain or burn bamboo to sort of get that tortoise shading to it. And it fits a lot of aesthetics, from eclectic to vintage to British colonial. And it's a variegated finish, as you see here, with different tones mimicking the look of tortoise. And you'll see it a lot on furniture like campaign desks or this chest of drawers right here. You'll see it on chairs. You'll see it on trays. You'll see it on all kinds of stuff. So keep your eye peeled. And then when you find a piece that's in good condition, make sure to put tortoise bamboo in your listing. Do you ever get home from a sourcing trip and there's like one item burning a hole in your bag and you can't wait to get home and do a little research and photograph it? Well, that was this next piece. And then I was so bummed out. Let's take a look. Oh gosh, these are so cool. Oh, I was so excited about these guys. Wait till you see the brand. Anyway, these are real leather pants, or they're kind of got a chaps thing going, right? They've got some braided weaving, and I did pay up for them. I paid $25 for these. So I set them all up. I was going to brush them with my suede brush, but first I get a good look at everything, check the zipper, which by the way, I did in the store, only to find out this time it's broken at the end. Anyways, these are Ralph Lauren vintage, and I was thinking I'm going to make $1 million on these, but now I've got to pay to have somebody sew them up. If any of you are seamstress, I would love to know if that is something that's going to be hard to fix. I'll keep you guys posted on what I end up paying to have those mended. Next, I want to show you this 100% silk blazer. Now, when I first saw this piece, it threw me off. I thought maybe it was a pajama top, but it's a blazer, as you can see by the collared low neck that comes down to a button. Anyway, this is Country Casuals, made in Hong Kong, very vintage. And I wanted to show you the fabrics. I did pay up for this, paid almost $13, as you can see there. Look at the sheen, okay? And then I want you to look at the construction, the piping, the navy contrast piping, the self-covered buttons. I think there was a little spot on that sleeve right there, but look at the cuffs, just done so well. Now I'm going to tug on it, and I want you to see that there's hardly any stretch, just the tiniest little woven stretch you can get. If this had been a silk blend, there would have been a lot more stretch on that. So just a few tips on when you're looking at fabrics. I also want you to notice the sheen, especially when you pull back from the piece. You can really see the light picking up the sheen on it. Moving on is this gorgeous deep plum cashmere blend jacket. I got a great deal on this. I only wished two things. It was my size and I lived in the snow, but neither were true, so I will be reselling it. This jacket has everything I love. It's got beautiful construction, fully lined, absolutely incredible materials. It's got wool, it's got cashmere, it's just rich and luxe, and I love it. It's even got the extra button, which I totally appreciate. It's in a great size of 14, and I'm really excited to get this one up and going. One more important note, look how the color changes right here. It's really important to get as close to the real color as you can. So if when taking pictures you can't get them all right on, make sure in your description you tell the buyer which ones are most accurate. That'll help you from any returns. Look at this darling Y2K sweater. I love the style. I wanted to use this example to show you, again, your buyer can't touch or hold the items, so you want to give them a lot of great clear close-ups so they can feel like they're near it. So pull the care tags, the material tags, the brand tags close up to the camera. I will usually hide my hand behind the fabric and hold them just like I did there when I'm taking my pictures. I will also zoom in on the knit, how open or closed it is. I will hold up the cuffs to show any detail. I especially love to get close-ups on any stitching details, or in this case, the cabling. Any part of the garment that's unique and special, you want to zoom in on that for at least one or two of your pictures. Okay, on this next piece, which I just absolutely adore, I wanted to share with you that I was going to keyword this with the name Phoebe Buffet. She was kind of the ditzy blonde on the show Friends, very popular, and she had a really cool, very popular right now wardrobe that people are dying to style themselves after. And this sweater totally reminds me of her. However, I had seen a YouTuber, I forget who it was, I'm sorry, say that they had been called out, I think on eBay, for using a celebrity's name in their title. It was one of these things where it said as seen on. And so I just wanted to caution myself and you that eBay may be pulling back on celebrity names in listings. If you have experience with this, please share with us in the comments. This next dress is so cool. No brand tag, possibly homemade, super boho with this drop waist and this incredible hem. Let me show you the pieces. They're like all squares that are tacked at one corner. I think I'm going to end up putting this in my seasonal storage, meaning I am going to wait and bring this out in the spring. However, I wanted to point this out. If you ever see these on straps, those are to hold, men especially, those are to hold bra straps in place so they don't show when you're wearing a top like this. So if you ever see those snaps, just know they're for bra straps. Anyway, really a very cool piece. I can think of all kinds of keywords and occasions that this would be great for, but I'm going to wait. This was a great find for right now, and I want to talk to you about velvet versus velour. So this is a vintage Liz Sport jumpsuit. It is velour. It is a cotton polyester blend, and I'm calling it velour because the way it's woven, it is super stretchy. Watch. You see that? True velvet will not give you that kind of stretch. Also, you can't reach through the foam, but if you could feel it and then feel a piece that was true velvet, you would know the difference. By the way, that belt came with it at Savers. I don't know that that's original to the piece, but I'm for it. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the very fun chore of sticky rolling. I can't think of the real word. When you are rolling something that has a sheen or has longer fibers, you are going to want to brush or roll in one direction when you're finished, especially. Now, black, as you can see here, famously hard to photograph, but look at all that came off on my roller. So, one direction when you're done. It's almost like vacuuming the carpet or mowing the lawn. There are a few stubborn little pieces that wouldn't come off. I use a little square of tape, and voila. Okay, this is a really special piece by Sonia Reichel from Paris. This is velvet, but it's ribbed velvet. Kelly, that's corduroy. No, it's a little different. So you will see that the ribbing is on the bias or slanted, which is just an amazing cut next to that sleeve where they sort of intersect. I think it's gorgeous. This is a shorter pile, and I'm going to do the stretch test on it, but let's also talk about materials. This velvet is made from cotton and modal. Modal, M-O-D-A-L, is a very sustainable tree pulp from the beech tree, and it's moisture wicking. It doesn't pile, or excuse me, it doesn't pill easily. It's just all around a great material that a lot of manufacturers and designers are starting to use and have been using. This is vintage, made in France. There it is, cotton and modal. And I think it said viscose for the lining. Anyway, I'm about to do the stretch test. Are you ready? Here we go. See that? Tug. Essentially no stretch at all. This is an absolutely stunning ensemble. I cannot wait to list it. It's got branding on the buttons. It's got just impeccable craftsmanship. Every girl should have a Sonia Reichel suit. Okay, for this last piece from my death pile, I want to talk about photographing black. Watch how the lighting changes and the color of black, the tone, goes from like cool gray to like a warmer black. Really play around with your phone or your camera when you're photographing black until you can zero in on the accurate shade of black, because yes, there are different shades of black. The material on this is a viscose nylon, and see where it says made in Hong Kong. Real quick point there, you'll typically know something is vintage, especially clothing, when it's made in Hong Kong. 60s through the 80s typically, and then a lot of the manufacturing shifted to mainland China, and tags stopped saying Hong Kong. Now things are still made there, we still import from there, but that is one tip when you're trying to decide if something's vintage or not. As always, bring the details close to the camera. Look at that crochet, just amazing. I love this, and you want to show it wherever it is on the garment. Okay, folks, we have, what, $9 on a little garage sale. It's really windy out, so not a lot of shoppers, and it's kind of late. We're probably getting ready to close. Let's see if we can find anything. All right, well, they take Venmo. So $20 later, here we are. A little resell, a little keep, a little thriftmas. If I have time when I get home from shopping, I like to spread out my haul and take a look at what I've got. Put things in the laundry. If they're to keep, you know, put them somewhere in the house. Anyway, I spent $20 on 12 items, and I thought this thumper was going to be a hit. It's really not. This top is beautiful. It was handmade in the Philippines, she told me. It was hers. And I needed help describing it. So what I do, I take a picture and I go to Google Lens and I search for other tops that have a similar design and see how they describe the design. So after a little while of searching, I landed on words romantic, lace, yoke, and swing top that I'm going to put in my listing. All right, next up, these are gorgeous vintage enameled cloisonne earrings. Now they're convertible, so you can wear them as hoops or as just the studs, and I like to picture both components alone so the buyer can sort of visualize wearing them the different ways. I got this earring holder in a baggie at Savers, and I really like it. And the earrings look okay, but look how much better they look when I held them up close to the camera. Oh my gosh. Again, we're back to angles and giving the buyer a sense of being able to almost hold or feel. Sometimes I'll show them the packaging that I do so they know what to expect when they get them in the mail. These are great statement earrings. I love them with the beaded fringe. These looked better, in my opinion, on the earring holder, so I definitely used that picture, I think is the cover. You may think in your mind you know how big earrings are when you're listing them, but just measure them. Just measure them, because even if you're an inch off, the buyer might be really disappointed. Okay, guys, this is a bolo. Vintage Martha Stewart hardcover cookbooks and entertaining books. Now, some more than others. I don't know the rhyme and reason. All I want to say is look them up. And if they are signed by her, even way better. So when I photograph books, I like to show the end papers, the inside covers, the dust jacket. I like to show all the important information, the title pages, the publishing information, the table of contents. You know, if I'm really buying a book to read it or have it, I want to see what I'm getting, right? I want to see clean pages. I want to see vibrant colors. So I always highlight my favorite pictures if the book is illustrated. And that's what I've done here with this Martha Stewart book. So keep your eyes peeled for vintage Martha Stewart books. I feel like I see them all the time. And again, I'm not exactly cued in to the rhyme or reason for why they're selling so much, certain ones in particular. But when you do a comp for solds, you'll see that this Entertaining by Martha Stewart from 1982 is a hot ticket right now. And coming up, there went my Christmas book. It sold for $95. I'm not sure if it was signed. Anyway, if any one of you knows which ones and why they are selling for so much, please let us know down in the comments. There it is, $84, but that one is signed. So I don't know. I'm looking to get probably $40, $50 for mine. I'm ecstatic. And now is definitely the time to sell it. So keep your eyes peeled. Okay guys, last but not least, I've got to shout one of you out. This tip was so good. Introducing one of my followers, the Chukin. I think I'm saying that right. Let's take a little review at what she was referring to, and then you've got to read her tip. It is so good. If you saw my death pile video, you'll remember this little moment where I shoved all these quilts in my nose because they had a stale smell. Now, the Chukin83 has weighed in the comments, and let's read. After washing a mothball smelling quilt 3 times without luck, her mom suggested she put it in a garbage bag with a cup of baking soda. Bicarbonate soda is also known as baking soda. Leave it for 24 hours at least, giving it a shake every few hours, and she said that did the trick. I just think that tip is so great. It's such a mild intervention that I think it would work with so many things, from books to hats to tops, delicate things, you know, that you don't want to put through the wash cycle or anything. So thank you so much, Chukin. That was a great tip. All right, the time has come to say goodbye. I want to thank you so much. My channel is growing and doing well, and I'm getting so many really just helpful and lovely comments from you guys. Thank you so much. It's very motivating, very encouraging. I really appreciate it. And I was happy to find out so many of you are also following my niece Candace at Candace Resells. That's really fun for us to share listeners and watchers. I just have to wrap things up as I usually do by reminding you that this is one of the best jobs on the planet. It's very simple. God provides. We just have to find it and flip it forward. Have a beautiful week. May your business just do beautifully, because it's Q4 and lots of folks need lots of gifts for lots of people they love. So get to listing, get that death pile, back into action, back into the living, and I will see you here next week. Bye-bye.